I'm going to be teaching some stuff that we got from Instant Thunder. Actually, it wasn't taught at Instant Thunder, but I was given the outline from Jeff Bright. He's helping Andy write a book. I forgot what it's going to be called, but so the theme of this talk is operating on a value system. Here's what I found about operating on a value system is that you become a consistent person people can depend on, people know what to expect from you. The other thing is that you become stable. This is sort of the foundation of stability is when you can operate on a principled value system from which you interact with the world, right? How many of y'all interact with unstable people where you don't know where they're coming from any given minute? And a lot of the reason is they didn't have proper formation when they were growing up. When they were raised, their parents didn't teach them values. And so any value that they heard from their friends or from social media sounds good. I mean, how would you like to raise your children on the value system that they learn from social media, from TV, right? From their friends, right? Why not instill the value system in your own children? And in the Alliance, what we like to do is we like to operate on a set value system that is important to us. And part of that is to help you kind of solidify where you're going in life through a consistent principled value system from which you can then operate in the world with tremendous success, maximize your potential, and in my opinion, become the best version of yourself, the vision and the dream that God has for you, right? Also, it will help you understand when you're going off track. Usually, when you're going off track, it comes down to examining what those values are and where you're kind of a little shaky, right? It helps you diagnose what is going on with you, man. And how many of us would love to do that without having to pay a therapist like $200 an hour, right? So, of course, you can't operate in a void. You've got to operate with dependence on each other, interdependence upon each other to achieve a worthwhile dream or goal, of which those goals that you have will be achieved. So we're going to talk about the 8 value systems. And what's really cool is I've never heard this taught in the Alliance, right? So I'm going to take Jeff Bright's notes and I'm going to teach from it. And then I'm going to end up talking about the 3 things that shield you. And this is also a value-based aspect too. That's why I'm going to fold it into the end of it. The 3 things that hold you back from the blessings God has for you. These are 3 things that will prevent you from receiving the abundant blessings around you that God has. He wants, man, he's your child, right? You're his child. He's your father, and he wants to bless you with blessings abundantly, right? But what we do, because of our free will that he blesses us with, is we put an umbrella on those blessings. And I'm going to talk about the 3 things that cause us to miss the blessings that God has in abundance, right? So let's rock and roll with this. Man, each one of these could be its own 1-hour talk. So I'm going to give you some things. So get your pens out. Because I only have a limited amount of time, I'm just going to write down the values and talk about them. But, take your notes, man. Take good notes. So let's start with the first one. Excellence. By the way, this will help me because I'm going to show them playing tonight in Cincinnati. So I'm going to I'm going to be practicing on you guys. So let's talk about behaviors designed behind the value of excellence. Okay. All right. So let's talk. So again, Jeff Bright came up with these quotes. I'm giving all this credit to him. I'm just going to be talking about them. So excellence. So here's the quote. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. And that's from David Thoreau. Okay, let me repeat that again. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. Think about that. Your life is a finite amount on this earth. And so the things that you care about should be reflected in how you spend your life. You know, we talk about time being the most important resource, right? Well, what is time? Time is how you spend your life. Your life is time, the time you spend on this earth. You know, it's the dash between your birth date and your end date. We don't know what that end date is. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. So anything you do is an exchange of that piece of your life for that. So what is the value of your life? What is the value of your life? You can live your life in an excellent manner, or you can live your life in a frivolous manner. So let's define frivolous. When you go on social media, are you impacting your life or others' lives, or taking that time and giving a call to a person on your team saying, hey man, how you doing? I just read your activity report and, you know, maybe we need to catch up. So the time I'm spending talking to someone, trying to help move them forward, I think is my life well spent compared to my life that 2-3 minutes of my time, maybe I'm checking some knucklehead Facebook video. Like I got off Facebook 3 years ago. So I'm a recovering Facebookaholic. Right? So excellence. So there are 4 behaviors under excellence. The first one is be intentional by allocating attention to your purpose. In other words, you got a game plan when you wake up in the morning, gang, to know what you're going to accomplish that day with your life, with how you spend your life. There are specific things. I knew that I was going to do this, so I knew I had to prepare for this session with my team, with you, and then execute. And then I have an interview after this, and then I have boom, boom, boom. Then I got the Cincinnati hotspot tonight, which I'm going to tweak all the stuff I'm doing wrong right now. And then they're going to get the best version. Actually, sometimes the first version is better than the second one. But it's knowing what you want to accomplish with your life. Your life is the treasure that God gave you. How you spend that treasure, how you invest that treasure, instead of being the servant that hid the treasure in the sand and then gave the 1 coin back to his master. And the master says, you could have stuck this in the bank and it would have got interest. You are going to go to jail. But the other 2 doubled the investment. Do you think God would be happier when he sees that the treasure he gave you of your life, talents and abilities, was returned to him 100-fold? How do you want to live your life? To me, that's excellence. Second behavior, set the bar high by aiming past expectations. Here's the one thing about expectations as a leader. When you expect your people to, I don't know if they're going to do it or not, do you think they're going to know that? Oh my gosh, yes. People rise to the level of their expectations. It works on your children. When you expect the best from your children like I do, like I'm a little bit crazy too that way. Like my son, Nick, he came back with like 1 B in his freshman year, 1 B the entire year. And I said, dude, man, I appreciate you working your butt off, but man, you got a B. And I encouraged and edified him for the work he put in, but you know what? What do we got to do to fix that B? You know, now, okay, so I come from perspective. I got basically straight A's in school except for 1 B. My B was in PE. My B was in basketball, which I was a varsity basketball player. So I was tearing it up. I was killing everybody. But the problem was I was such a perfectionist when I missed a shot, which I didn't miss a lot. I would be cussing and swearing, so I didn't have a good mouth. So my teacher said, dude, I'm going to give you a B. I said, what? And that one B is what prevented me from becoming valedictorian. Because the girl that beat me, the Chinese girl that beat me, emphasis on girl that beat me, was because of that B. Okay, I don't know why. Oh, okay, expectations. Okay, so now there are other people that will put expectations, but what's more important, their expectation of you or your expectation of yourself? Guess who you listen the most to? You. You listen to you more than anyone else. And so if you rise above the expectations, why wouldn't you have a high expectation of yourself? That speaks to self-image. If your self-image is strong enough, you will expect the best from you, and then you will rise up to that level. And when you don't do your best, it bothers you. How can I do better tomorrow? Because I know I'm a 10. I'm a 10 because God made me in his image and likeness. When we get born in this world upside down and naked, we start off as a 10, in the image of God. What beats you down below a 10 to a 3, 4, 5, 1 is the world, is the enemy, who beats into you that you're not good enough. You aren't the child of God, you're a child of the world. And he puts his thumb under you, the prince of darkness, and makes you think that you aren't worthy. Well, you are worthy. So you got to set the bar high to the expectation that God has for you. Okay, man, this is going to take me forever to get through this. I mean, I can go off on all this stuff, but let me give you the third one. Okay, be proactive by having a strong vision for the long term. You know what's interesting about keeping your focus on the long term is that all the little things that happen to you along the way are little bumps on the road. What happens in the long term is what you're going for. So when you set your sights ahead instead of what's happening to you every day, then all the little stuff that happens to you every day is just it's just little bumps that I got to get through to get to where I need to go with my life, with my time, for my family. All the little stuff like getting chargebacks or getting no-showed, it's like, no big deal because I got my eye on the prize, right? St. Paul, I got my eye on the prize. Okay, be proactive by having a strong vision for the long term. Number 4, behavior under excellence. Invest in your capacity by remaining thirsty to obtain, improve, and retain more skills and knowledge. Whenever we talk about going to Instant Thunder, going to the national conference, we talked about having that thirst for becoming better by getting around the people that will enhance your knowledge, enhance your understanding, enhance your skills, enhance your belief. When you get around believers, gang, you will believe, I promise you. It is how this business works. It's how everything works. God created us to be social creatures, to interact with each other, not for us to get, but it's for us to give. And then when we give, we get. Do you see how that works? It's pretty cool. When we give uplifting and edification, we get back uplifting and edification. When we treat people with respect, we get respect in return. That's how it works. Invest in your capacity by remaining thirsty to obtain, improve, and retain more skills and knowledge. So that's excellence. Let's go to number 2, service. Yeah, this is going to be a long one, I think. Okay, I'm gonna speed this up. All right, service. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Guess who said that? Gandhi. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. First behavior, acknowledge all forms of communication by addressing them in a timely manner. Look, gang, if you call me and never call you back, how good does that make you feel? Now, I try to return calls. I try to be very anal about returning communication right away. But if I forget, I feel bad. I don't do it on purpose. I get so much stuff coming at me, but I do my best, right? Because it affirms others people, it affirms in other people that they have value and that they're worthy of communicating back in a timely manner, right? So I think that is so important, especially if you're a leader. And if you just want to play a game with your downline agents, with your team, by thinking, oh man, I'm so important that I'm just going to wait to call this guy back. What are you communicating to that person? Are you communicating that they don't have value? That they don't, and that's how they're going to feel. See, that's how they're going to feel. What's the next one? Number 2, greet everyone with enthusiasm by reflecting a positive outlook. Man, the last thing people need to hear from you is when they say, how's it going? Oh, Alex, it's going okay. It could be better. Okay, now, the character Eeyore. People don't need an Eeyore. What I love about that Winnie the Pooh is that it has character stereotypes. And how many of y'all have been around those people that suck the life out of you? In fact, the room gets brighter when they leave. Don't be that person, man. Greet everyone with enthusiasm. Like when someone calls, like, hey, like you've never heard from them in 20 years. I need to be more like that. So I'm teaching myself, okay? So if you think I'm getting on you and really I'm getting on me, okay? I need to do that more. Number 3, ensure commitment through follow-up by ending the interaction with action. Okay, so people would rather see a sermon than hear a sermon. What do I mean by that? It's like, this means nothing. Talk means nothing. Action means everything. So what you say, I don't hear, but what you do, it's so loud that I don't hear what you say because of what you do. Likewise, when you are interacting with someone and communicating with them, do what you say you're going to do. Put whatever into action, either hold them accountable, right? Or do something very specific. Follow up by ending every interaction with an action. The 4th one under service, show mercy towards the injured soul by practicing the parable of the Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan. Samaritans were like looked down upon, especially by the other people around them, Jewish people. That was sort of their vibe, But there's this guy laying on a Jewish guy laying on the road, and the other 2 guys passed him up, didn't want to dirty their hands, but the Samaritan had compassion. Hopefully I don't have to recount this parable, but he took care of them. He went the extra mile. Talk about a parable of going the extra mile. He took care of them. He showed mercy. Look, that's one thing about this business that can be very painful is when you tease people and joke with people and try to put other people against other people, try to compare, try to motivate them. Gang, that's like one of the worst ways of motivating people, especially if the people don't have the self-image to handle it. And then when you're trying to say, well, hey, man, Joe, look what Joe did, right? And you're telling this guy who's gone through some difficult times in his life, and here you are trying to motivate him by comparing him to someone else. And what you did, you just stomped on that guy, when all that guy needed was for you to show mercy and say, man, how you doing? Really, how are you doing? See, there's when you go on the phone and say, hey, man, what's up? How you doing? And it's like, oh, I'm doing well. It's just more of a greeting. What I'm saying is you're really finding out, so really, how's it going? It's that way you say it. It's with the intent of wanting to know what's going on in your life, man. I can tell there's something up. It's that the way you say it with sincerity. I wanted to know if you're dealing with someone that's injured. Look, we're all broken. We're all broken in some way. That's why we have Jesus who came to fill those, to heal our wounds. But you know what? God has no body but yours. And so is Jesus going to come down and say, hey, what's up? No, he uses you to go to someone else and say, hey, man, I can tell that you're not the same, but what's going on, man? How can I help you? Show mercy. That is the essence of this quality we call service. Okay, let's talk about integrity. Again, I'm giving all this stuff is Jeff Bright, okay? So I'm not taking any credit for it. I love teaching it though because he's articulated exactly the stuff that resonates with me. So you can definitely thank Jeff Bright for all of this. Number 3, integrity. So the quote that he puts here is, the values of the game are so much more important than the events that occasion them. Vince Lombardi. The values of the game are so much more important than the events that occasion them. Yeah, he won games. I mean, this is like such a Coach Wooden philosophy. Integrity. So number 1 under integrity, keep your word by honoring your promises. Keep your word by honoring your promises. Gang, when you, how can I say this in a positive way? Gang, when you order leads and you receive leads, your upline has paid for you to have those leads. But Alex, I paid for them. Yeah, so did everyone in your upline pay for them too. And so when you don't work them, when you don't work them as hard as you could work them, you may not value your own investment, but why don't you put value on your upline's investment in you, that they paid money for those leads too. And then ultimately, when you don't have the money to pay for them, and then you let your lead bill roll up, or you have a chargeback debt that you owe, and it rolled up to your upline, and you're not honoring that, integrity. Integrity. The problem with that, when you let your integrity go, is that it hurts your self-image. Like, honestly, man, it totally hurts your self-image. You know, look, maybe we have the money to cover it, maybe we do, maybe you're upline, okay? Maybe they have the money, maybe they don't. But what's worse about that whole deal for you is that you let it happen. And what happens is when you let your integrity go, and when you think it's okay, then you forever put yourself under the control of the enemy here on earth, and you will never become what God wanted you to become. Because any slip there is a slip everywhere. Do you see how that works? Like, how can anyone trust you when you promise your child that I'm going to do this for you, because you rolled up a lead debt or a charge back to your upline? Why should your child even believe you? Because how you treat people is how you treat everyone. You can't just decide that I'm going to have integrity with my kids, but not have integrity with my business partners or with my other relationships. It's about being consistent. Integrity is measured by the lowest level you seek to in it, or the highest level for everyone. Does that make sense? Keep your word by honoring your promises. That's what that means. Anything you promise somebody that you're going to do something for them, do it. Okay? I mean, I'm guilty too. So like, I'm not saying I'm, holier than thou. There's stuff that I got to get to work on when I'm promising stuff. I need to do that. I need to be on it. In other words, I need to do it quicker, faster, more efficiently, right? So I need to work on for me. Number two, guard your reputation by being careful of your association. Man, people will judge you by the friends you hang out with. All right. And what I mean by hang out with is you spend a lot of time with. Like you might serve at a soup kitchen with the poor. Okay, but who are you really hanging out with and listening to? People will judge you by the people you hang out with. So if you hang around people that are doing drugs all the time, guess what? We can only assume that maybe you are doing drugs, right? But Alex, marijuana is illegal in certain states. Well, all I know is it's illegal in this state. That's a whole nother topic. Number two, under integrity, guard your number three, make fair decisions by being free from favor toward either or any side. Man, Solomon was the ultimate in fairness, okay? It doesn't mean you treat people equally. Okay, treating people equally, that's a whole different thing, all right? But you treat people fairly, okay? Fairly. In other words, don't jump to conclusions on anything. That's what I love about Andy Albright is that he'll hear something about one of his leaders and he will automatically not assume that's how it is. And then he'll talk to the leader, talk to people that know him. It's like, hey man, that's not how it went down. Andy said, yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, in this business that's as public as we are, there's all kinds of rumors here, rumors there, blah, blah, blah. Andy doesn't assume anything, man. He treats everyone fairly. In fact, he gives everyone a benefit of the doubt. He looks at the facts. You know, he doesn't fall into that judging thing. He makes fair decisions, being free from favor toward either or any side. Number four, under integrity, establishing authenticity by becoming genuine. Man, don't you trust the people that have no agenda? But you can tell when someone's trying to achieve an agenda with you, right? Now, it depends on what the agenda is. One thing about Andy is his agenda for you is to help you become better, help invest in you so that you become a better person. If he can help you become a better person, guess what? You become a better producer, a better leader, a better husband, a better father, a better wife, a better mother, a better friend. See, that's the agenda he has. But anyone who has a manipulative agenda try to get you to produce so I can make bigger override or try to, manipulate you because I got to go key leader. So I need for you, please, God, I need for you to write an accident policy on yourself so I can hit key leader. That's an agenda, okay? And people don't trust you, man, when you got an agenda, okay? Right? Anyway, man, be genuine. Be a real person. See, a lot of times people feel like they can't be genuine because they're afraid of what people will see in them. They're afraid that people will judge them. It's fear. Man, how many times the Bible's littered with the word fear not? Those two words, fear not. Fear not what people will see inside you, because when you are open and honest, people will see that. And what they will discover about you is what God put inside you. When you don't try to hide it, see, the enemy wants you to fear, to self-disclosure so that you can't open up and show what God put inside you. That's what's holding you back, is the enemy putting fear so that you can't feel that you can be genuine and open your heart to your upline, to your friends, to your teammates, that you are who you are and you're trying to get better. There's light inside you. You just have to let it out, gang. It's the beauty that's inside you that God put in you. That's the genuineness. When you're dealing like that on a daily basis with your people, with the people you brought on your team, with your upline, with your clients, how can people not see the light that God put in you? That's a whole thing right there. Establish authenticity by becoming genuine. Man, okay, accountability. Maybe I should have started this at the beginning. but I'm on a roll. So let me just get this out. Accountability. Here's Jeff Bright's quote. He that is good for making excuses is seldom good for anything. Benjamin Franklin. You know what's funny, or what's interesting is that, man, people have not changed in centuries. People are people, man. You think just because they were living in Jesus' time, they didn't have issues? Man, they have all the same issues we have today. I mean, it may not be social media they were dealing with, but it was probably like the little gathering around the river, getting water, and then they were all gossiping or whatever. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They had their own version of Facebook, I'm sure. Accountability. He that is good for making excuses is seldom good for anything. Thank God, Jeff Bright, for finding these awesome quotes. Okay, number one under accountability in terms of behavior. Be self-disciplined by displaying willpower. The power of the will. Willpower. It is a power. The power of you disciplining yourself to do what is right versus what is easy. To do that which is hard, but more rewarding from that which will give you the greatest pleasure, but is fleeting. Be self-disciplined. The first flesh that you have to discipline is your own. And don't we know where Satan likes to work? I'll be getting that a little bit later. But be self-disciplined by displaying willpower. Number two, second behavior, accountability. Think before you act by considering the consequences. Okay, I'm exposed. I tend to be a passionate person. I have a temper like crazy. And so a lot of times when I see an email or I see someone reacting to me, I will start typing. And then, boom, I hit the send button and I can never get that back. It's like when you react, when you say words, the power of words is enormous. The power to uplift and edify is the same as the power to tear down and to and be malicious. The power of your words. Man, think before you ever do anything. Compose the email and trash it. Sometimes you just need to get it out. Don't react immediately. Understand the consequences of that decision. How many marriages have been ended because of that? What's interesting is that the people closest to you, you're less disciplined to hold back than you are the people that are acquaintances or friends. There's this weird thing about the civility socially that you're not going to, now some of y'all will just do it anyway, the your number one sign when someone cuts you off on the road. You're number one. And you could do a double your number one. You're 11. Anyway, think before you act by considering consequences. Number three, under accountability, take ownership of your choices by answering for your conduct. Take ownership of your choices by answering for your conduct. Okay, so what does that mean? Answering for your conduct. That means you are exposed to explain whatever it is you're doing. And if you ever feel like you're doing something that you can't explain it, then maybe you ought to be thinking twice about what you're doing. In other words, are you kind of doing something a little sneaky or whatever? And then you're just like, oh man, okay. But you can't answer for your conduct. You can't answer the question if someone asks, hey man, I saw that you did this, again, if you can't explain it to anybody or everybody what you're doing, then you probably need to think twice. Because in the Bible, it's what is in the unseen will be brought out into the seen. And ultimately, when you have to take account for your life in front of God at the end of your life, right? Man, you have some explaining to do. I never want to be in that situation, right? All right, that's accountability. And then 4, Be a self-starter by exhibiting initiative. Be a self-starter by exhibiting initiative. Man, don't wait. Reach up. The worst thing I ever see happen when I know they're on their way out is when bad stuff happens to them and they don't reach upline to their upline. They don't reach upline to their manager, to their upline growing manager. They don't call upline to get help, right? And they're on their way out. Take the initiative. Take control. Do what you know you need to do without anyone telling you. And ultimately, it's getting help when you need it. We all need help. Let your ego go. Don't submit your ego to someone who wants to help you, basically. Exhibit initiative. Okay, number 5, respect. Put it up here. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Aretha. Okay, for some of you young people, Aretha Franklin is probably one of the premier. She's the queen of R&B. Anyway, respect. So here's the quote. Respect for ourselves guides our morals. Respect for others guides our manners. Lawrence Stern. Man, this is one of my favorite quotes, and this whole thing, it rocks. Respect for ourselves guides our morals. Respect for others guides our manners. You ever get around somebody who doesn't respect themselves? It's really interesting because if they don't respect themselves, they certainly won't respect you. You know, it's like you ever heard, to love others is to love yourself. Then you have the capacity to love others. To respect others is to respect yourself. You got to respect yourself, which guides your morals. And then respecting others guides our manners. How we treat other people. Do you treat them with respect or lack thereof? Right? Number 1 behavior under respect. Be tolerant and accepting by practicing empathy over evaluation. Be tolerant and accepting by practicing empathy over evaluation. Man, don't be a judge. Don't judge their character. Don't judge. Okay, you know, it's like judge lest you be judged. Okay, so let's talk about that. People always misinterpret that. When you evaluate, when you judge situations, when you evaluate situations and facts, then you have to act accordingly. But it's different when you start judging character, right? Because it's like one of those things that, you know, take the plank out of your own eye before you take the speck out of your brother's eye, right? So the first, practice empathy or evaluation. Put yourself in their shoes. That's basically what that means. Put yourself in their shoes. Understand their perspective. Now, it doesn't condone anything they did, whether it be right or wrong. If what they did was wrong objectively, you know, then it's wrong. But understand how they feel. Seek first to understand. Once you do that, then we got somewhere to go. Right? Walk a mile in your brother's shoes, in your sister's shoes, and then let's talk. Right? And sometimes it's a case where you've never been through that, but if you understand how they feel, empathize, then we can move forward. It's all about moving forward by respecting someone else. Okay? But if you're constantly judging whether they're good people or bad people based on what they do, man, it's like what Andy said earlier on TWC. Are you treating people by the acts that they do today? Or are you treating them as what they could be in the future? As the best person that they will be? How many times have you not been judged because of the knucklehead things you did today because your upline and Andy thought, man, this guy could be awesome. This gal could be awesome. I'm going to treat her awesome as if she's a leader on my team. Right? It's exactly what Andy's teaching when he's talking about this. Number 2, of respect. Be considerate by displaying manners and not inconveniencing others. Oh my gosh. There's so many great examples of people that never try to be overbearing. Like Patrick Connor's a great example. He never tries to inconvenience me. He does everything to make my life easier. We've been friends forever, but he always tries to figure out, hey, how can I make things easy for Alex? When I'm coming out to the hotspot, he says, hey, man, can I get you coffee? It's this servant attitude, right? But it's an idea of respect where you're not trying to impose more work on other people. You're doing all the work yourself, and then when you need help, you reach out for help. Nothing drives me more crazy when someone asks me for something that they could do for themselves. Number one, if I continue to let them do that, then they become totally dependent and not independent, right? And I'm holding them back. How many of y'all been around permissive parents that let their kids do anything, but they never enforce discipline on them, right? They spared the rod. I was not from that school of sparing the rod. I did not spare the rod, right? Be considerate by displaying manners and not inconveniencing others. How you treat people is how you are. So when you treat your spouse poorly in public or your children poorly in public, or it's like, man, how you treat others. Do you shake their hand? Do you go out and polite? Are you kind? Like to the server at a restaurant. They already have a tough job, and then they got to deal with you. Man, say a kind word. Call them by their first name. Little things make a big difference. And you might think, well, it's for them. No, it's for you. See, when you display manners, that means you respect yourself because you're respecting others. Number 3, rely on facts by rejecting assumptions. Rely on facts by rejecting assumptions. Man, it's amazing how assumptions get you into all kinds of trouble when you assume things. I've done it a gazillion times, gang. I know from experience. When I assume certain things, then I'm wrong. It's like, man, I might as well just not assume, and then I won't be wrong. And it's hard to be, once you're wrong about something, then that's a wrong that can perpetuate with other people. And you have no idea, but it was because you assume certain things about other people. Man, again, this goes back to walking a mile in their moccasins. Rely on facts by rejecting assumptions. Number 4, show humility by removing arrogance. Show humility by removing arrogance. This is one of those kind of negative things where, like, you're teaching a positive by holding up the negative. Okay. Arrogance. Arrogance really is the quality of thinking you're better than other people. You're better than the homeless person. You're better than, because you drive a nice car and they're driving a rust bucket, right? Arrogance. When you stop thinking you're better than other people, when you treat everyone as a child of God just like you, they may have had some bad breaks in life, they may have made bad decisions, right? But they deserve the same respect as you do because Christ died for them the way he died for you and died for me, right? He knows every hair on that person's head just like he knows yours. He loves that person like he loves you. God is no respecter of persons. So when you operate in that world in a divine, heavenly manner instead of a worldly way, then you get rid of the arrogance that plagues us, because arrogance is related to pride. And pride, you know, cometh before the fall. When you get rid of all that arrogance, everything else comes to you. It's amazing. But when you put the wall of pride and arrogance up, man, you so limit yourself from what God wants you to become. I'm talking from personal experience. Show humility by removing arrogance. Oh, man. Number 6, compassion. Compassion. Consider how much your actions will affect not only the outcome, but also the journey of another, author unknown. Consider how much your actions will affect not only the outcome, but also the journey of the other. Remember the Bible? It's like, yeah, you can be condemned by what you do, but you're even worsely condemned, if that's a word, when you cause other people to sin. Oh my gosh. Do you hear me? That's a whole sermon. I'm not going to do that, man. I'm just a messenger. Consider how much your actions will affect not only the outcome, but the journey of another. That's compassion, man. Okay, so the first one, notice another's distress by having openness and receptivity to what's going on around us. Take your eyes off yourself, bro, and put them on other people. Isn't it interesting when you can be so wrapped up in all the crap going on with you that you never notice what's going around you? You never notice other people hurting. But when you take your eyes off yourself and all the crap going on with you, and you try to give yourself away to other people, not trying to solve their problems, but being there for them by noticing. It's amazing how people respond when you notice stuff. When you notice that, hey man, what's going on? Is everything going okay? When you notice, then you're taking your eyes off yourself, putting on other people. It's amazing when you put your eyes on other people to try to help them, your problems get diminished to something that's, it's something that you can get over and that you have strength to overcome your own problems because you're giving yourself away to other people, right? When you give yourself away, your problems diminish. When you focus on your problems amplify, right? Powerful, powerful, powerful. Number 2, connect to another's hurt by taking the perspective of the sufferer and emotionally feeling for that sufferer. This goes back to what we were talking about before. Is, man, put yourself, the empathy, put yourself in their shoes, right? Understand why they make those decisions that they're making. People crave and seek connection. Even though they may not act like it, trust me, the act is a sham. People crave connection. They want to connect. It's just something inside them that won't. But when you're out there reaching out to connect, it's everything, gang, for compassion. Number 3, respond to another's anguish by sustaining a practical determination to do whatever is possible and necessary to help alleviate the pain. Look, I've been to 2 funerals in the last few months. And, some people have never been to a funeral, like my son. Never been to a funeral. Well, no, he's been to a funeral. Okay. But this is a real close person to him, passed away, that really helped him fall in love with ROTC and wanting to pursue serving his country. An important person in his life passed away. His car hydroplaned and it got wrapped around a pole. I think I talked about this in a previous call. 22-year-old kid, was a commander of Athens, my son's squadron in ROTC, second lieutenant commission, and just this tremendous Christian person that impacted so many lives. And, it's one of those things, anyway. So I wanted to honor him by attending this funeral. So, what can I do? I get this question too, like, what do I say to the people that are hurting? Man, you don't have to say anything. You being there is everything. Remember the action versus words? They're not looking for you to ease their pain by words, because nothing will do that. But by you just being there and saying, hey man, I'm here for you. That means everything. What can I do? Is there anything I can do? Like a lot of the people that went through the hurricane situation in Florida and the people in Houston, there are people that called down just to see how they're doing. Hey man, you ready? I'm for you. I'm here for you. What can I do for you? There's a bunch of people that did that. How do you think it made them feel when they got a call from someone, not even in their upline, say, hey, anything I can do? What can I do? I can't board their house up, but you know what? That call means everything. Compassion is a powerful thing when you exercise it by just being there for someone and offering whatever you can do to help out. And you know what? The power of prayer is tremendous, okay? Number 4, replenish another's void by generating a positive effect through smiling and being attentive. How much does a smile cost? How much does a smile cost? It costs you nothing. It costs you nothing. But by presenting that to someone instead of RBF, some of y'all might know what that means, by not doing a simple thing like smiling and listening to them. I've heard this about Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton had this amazing power. When you were talking to him, he made you feel like you were the only person in the room. So whether you believe in his politics or not, or what he did or not, doesn't matter. What mattered, though, is how he treated people and made them believe they're the only person in the room. How are you when you talk to people at a hotspot meeting? Are you constantly looking at someone better to talk to? Looking over here where you talk to someone? How does it make them feel? When you're focused on what they're asking you, or focused and reading their lips and looking them in the eye and wanting to respond and understand, man, that means more than anything to them. Again, compassion. Number 7, community. We're almost done. I'm going to take this to the bitter end, man. If you got to go, I will send this out on video. That's for sure. Number 7, community. These number 7, number 8 are huge for the Alliance. So the quote for community: alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Helen Keller. Helen Keller. Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Helen Keller. Blind, deaf, and she's probably one of the most prominent people that had made an impact in this world because of someone that helped her connect to the world. How many of us are blind and can't hear because we have no vision, and we are so deaf to other people trying to help us that we live in our own world? We live in a world that God created to commune with other people. The Alliance is all about community. Number 1 behavior: keep a unified mindset by creating social solidarity through appreciation of each individual contribution. Gang, man, we're a team. We all live or die together. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's contribution is an important contribution. Are you appreciating them showing up? Man, we ain't got a hotspot if no one shows up. So if at least they show up, hey man, glad you're here. Glad you could make it. Man, it's so great to see your smiling face. Pat on the back, man. I'm so happy to see you. Little contributions. If they made their first dial, amen. Never say, oh, you just made 20 dials? Oh my gosh, dude. Seriously? But Alex, I'm trying to be that, motivator of people. Gang, you don't motivate people by looking at their lack. You motivate people by looking at the abundance of their performance that they can continue on. 20 can turn into 200. So if you treat them like they did 200, guess what they're going to do? They're going to do 200. It's like what Andy said. Treat them as if they're going to be that 200 dialer that's going to turn in 5,000 a week. And guess what? They go from 20 to 200 because your expectation on them, it's like, man, right on. 20 dials. All right, man. So we got something to work with. Look, you can't move them. You can't steer a parked car. So when they're doing something, man, acknowledge it, celebrate it. Don't let them stay there because you know they want to accomplish more. So we hold them accountable and then, hey, how can we help you do 40 next week or 400 or whatever, right? Number 2, under community, promote joint ownership by cultivating a feeling of fellowship through sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. Look, man, we all own a piece of the alliance, right? This is our company. We all own it. We own it by what we do, by what we say, by our performance, by growing the company because we become a light that attracts others. We become the person that keeps another person in that much longer. It's the power that you have to help another person validate that they can do this and that they're going to stay in just enough longer so they can start making money. They can start then learning to be the same light that you are to attract others. That's how this business works. We all own it. If you don't feel like you own it, then you're going to just treat it like another job, like the other 12 jobs that you had in the last 5 years. It's just another thing that you do to make money. And if that doesn't work, I'm just going to put my resume and shop it around again. And if that doesn't work, gang, plant your flag in the cement here and make this where you land and stay, right? And we can believe it when we feel like we own it. You own your hotspot meetings. Number 3, be a good Alliance citizen by doing your part through staying involved and remaining driven. Man, iron sharpens iron. And so when you are performing, guess what? Other people can believe they can perform. When you are not performing up to your capacity, then what happens is people lose their belief. It is your responsibility, man, to go after your goals and dreams, doing everything you can do. Because not only does that help you, it helps our community. It helps the Alliance Nation. Because when you perform and succeed, others can believe they can perform and succeed too. When you don't operate to your capability, then you're just you are slapping Andy in the face. Everything he's done for us to create this awesome opportunity, and you're just, you're diminishing it. Empower others by empowering yourself to become what you can become in this business. Number 4, protect the culture by displaying loyalty to the structure through ignoring the distractions of gossip and rumor. Oh my gosh. Okay. Gossip and rumor can kill a whole hotspot, can kill a community. Gossip and rumor. Let every gossip stop with you. Don't propagate it. I'm always the last one to know. Okay. By the way, I tell everybody I'm always the last to know. When anyone tells me something, it's like, man, I didn't know that. I guess I must be the last to know. I really am. Number 1, people know that if they gossip to me, it's like, give them the hand. It's like, man, let's talk about something positive, right? Look, stuff happens. But you know what? We need to get people thinking about their dreams and their goals. We need to help people think about the next thing they need to plug into to attend, what function they need to attend so they can grow and become better. They don't need to hear about gossip and rumor. Let everything end with you. You hear something, let it end with you and say, hey man, that's probably not a good thing to spread. That's the culture, man. It starts with you and ends with you. Makes sense? That'll kill what we got. We worked so hard to put this together. Why do you want to tear it down by propagating that? right? Okay, the last one is my favorite. I think this is a parent of all the other virtues. That is the virtue of gratitude. The quote that Jeff here is, gratitude is riches, compliant is poverty. Doris Day. Who knew that Doris Day would come up with a quote like that? Gratitude is riches. First behavior, show appreciation through acknowledgement by saying thank you. Man, all people want to hear is that they are appreciated. Don't you feel better when you're appreciated? One of the best ways is to say thank you. When someone compliments you, one of the worst things you say is, nah. Okay, it's not being arrogant by saying, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. See, when you say, no, I don't believe you, then what you're doing is you're crapping on them, saying that they're wrong, saying that people need to feel like they can give appreciation to someone else. Do you understand that sometimes you need to let people be grateful to whatever you did for them? Let them feel good about them saying thank you. Do you ever look at it like that? And then you validate them by accepting the thanks by saying, well, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you for saying that. Right? Show appreciation to it. Like when someone travels far away to come and serve at your hotspot, you just think, take it for granted. They're just doing that because they're going to make more money. No, they don't have to do it, but they're doing it because they want to serve. Just a good thank you. A thank you is fine. I get people that actually write me thank you notes or even send me a thank you note to my business address here. And it's like, oh my gosh, it means so much to others and it means so much to me. When I feel appreciated, I want to do more, right? When I feel appreciated, I want to do more. That's why you need to appreciate others so they will be motivated to do more. The second one, practice indebtedness by helping others in need through implied obligation. Okay, that might sound kind of convoluted, but it really is not. Practice indebtedness. In other words, that whole idea of gratitude means that I owe you for where I am and what I'm doing. I am indebted to Andy Albright. I'm indebted to the Alliance Nation because everything that the Alliance Nation is doing for me and my agents. Bill Lampy, who travels and gets into the head of one of my agents that moves them forward. I'm indebted to Bill. So how can I not serve Bill's people? Do you see how that unity works when you feel this indebtedness to others? There's an obligation to perform when you've been given such a great opportunity. To whom much is given, much is expected. You've been given a great opportunity here. Now we expect you to live up and rise up. Number 3, count your blessings by being thankful for the gifts bestowed upon you through relative reflection. Gang, I promise you, this works. When I'm feeling like self-pity, I fall into that, man. When I feel like things aren't going my way, it's like, what is wrong with me? I must suck. I suck. That's a conversation I have in my head. And then when I think, man, I suck, then I think, okay, but what has God blessed you with? Number 1, he gave me his son so I could have eternal life. Okay, I'm good. That's all I need to say. But you know what? Okay, what else did he bless you with? A wife that is loyal and supporting and that loves me, puts up with my junk. He blessed me with 5 wonderful children that I don't deserve, but he has given them to me anyway. He's given my children to bless me and teach me how much he loves me. Do you understand that you don't know how much God loves you until you have your own children? See, because when I became a father, then I understood a father's love. I understood, number 1, how much my father loved me, and number 2, how much God loved me. He blessed me with that. I don't even need to go on, but he's blessed me with friends that I love and care about, that I want to see them grow and perform. He's blessed me with the responsibility of doing this for you. These words are coming out of me, but you know what? I always pray every day that they're not me. This isn't me. This is God speaking through me. So maybe I'm saying something that he's wanting to get to you to understand. That's a privilege. The privilege to take this on the road, to share this with other people, man. That is a privilege, gang. I don't even have to go that far. I mean, I could stop at number one. It's like, you know what? I got nothing to be self-pitied about. I'm doing all right. I need to do better. Count your blessings works, man. Number 4, honor the opportunity by working diligently through imposing self-discipline. Look, if you're grateful for what this gift is that you've been given, the alliance, then why aren't you working it as if it was going to work for you? Like if you truly believe that everything that we're teaching you will get you what you want, will get you what you need, to get you to realize how awesome a gift God has blessed you with, and to realize, man, I'm not junk. God didn't create junk. He created a 10, and I'm performing at a 10 because I'm made in his image and likeness. And why aren't you like doing everything you can, gang? Why aren't you doing everything you can? And you can do everything you can. So let me end up with 3 things, because I think this is important, that kind of underlies this. What puts an umbrella on your blessings? This is kind of like, this is the antithesis of what we're talking about. There are 3 kinds of dirt that keeps God's, there are 3 kinds of dirt that can accumulate as habits on the window of the soul to keep God's grace from coming in. Okay? We are our habits. Our habits has formed us and created us and created the life that we've lived. Now, what are 3 kinds of dirt that can accumulate on those habits? The first one, we call it carnal dirt. So these will prevent blessings that God has for you. Carnal dirt, in other words, fleshly pleasures. In other words, you're going after what feels good instead of going after what's right. Carnal dirt, fleshly pleasures, focusing on the flesh. Number 2, I'm going to probably elaborate on these, but later, another time, but I'm just going to throw this out for you so you can think about it. Carnal dirt, money dirt. Lust of possessions. Love of money, the root of all evil. Lust of possessions, to have things. Look, Andy Albright might have a plane, he might have a Lamborghini, but you know what? He's not controlled by the lust for those things. I mean, that's just coming out of his funny money. Really? Look, he's buying a plane because it's going to get him around places to serve. All those things are to serve, but Lamborghini, is that really serving? Gang, if you have a choice of buying a Toyota Prius, but you have the money for a Lamborghini, why not buy a Lamborghini? It certainly go a lot faster than a Prius, It's having this attachment to things. I promise you, man, Andy Albright's not attached to things. If his Lamborghini blew up, hopefully he's not in it. He's got another one. He's not attached to things. He's not freaking out. I promise you, if someone bumped it or put a scratch in it, it's a thing. See, Andy loves people, uses things. He doesn't use people and loves things. And that's how you need to be. You need to love people and use things. It's the use of things, not the love of it. That's what that means. And then number 3, that will put a damper on your blessings. It's called ego dirt. as manifested by selfishness or vanity. Ego. Man, pride and ego, that will kill you. And anything you do, it'll put a crap on everything you're trying to plant. Selfishness or vanity. The vanity of moving up the levels because you are like the all-powerful, executive vice president or the all-powerful district manager. Hey, man, I'm something because I'm a DM. I'm something because I'm an AM. No. The only reason why you're an AM is you help someone go key leader, you help someone go team leader, you help someone go BP, and you help someone be an IBA, and you helped enough people write business and you served them, so your total group did 50,000 each you paid. And then you're an agency manager. But it's not because of anything you did per se, it's because you helped other people accomplish what they want. And boom, you hit AM. That's not vanity. Vanity is like moving up the levels because you want that ego and pride. You want to be able to, ego dirt. So carnal dirt, money dirt, ego dirt. These things, these are root sin things, issues that will prevent you from being blessed. When God sees this in your life, it's like, man, you prevent him. This is the enemy's domain. God wants to bless you with abundance, but you're preventing it because of going after fleshly pleasures, going after lusts of possessions, and then your own selfishness and vanity. All right, man, I'm done. Oh, wow, we still got 15 people on. That's cool. Anyway, I hope that helped out. God bless you. Man, let's rock and roll. Let's do this thing. Let's be better, man. God made you to be great. Discover that greatness with the Alliance and with Andy Albright, man, and you will be the happiest you've ever been. Rock on.